Filipino orthography specifies the correct use of the writing system of the Filipino language, the national and co-official language of the Philippines. History Pre-Hispanic scripts During the pre-Hispanic era, most of the languages of the Philippines were written in a bugida, an ancient segmental writing system. Examples of this ancient Philippine writing system, which descended from the Brahma script, are the Kawi, Baybayin, Bayad, Hanuna Cubdo, Tagbanwa, Butuan, Kapampangan and other Brahmic family of scripts known to antiquity. A controversial and debatable script of the Philippines is the Ascan script. Baybayin script began to decline in the 17th century and became obsolete in the 18th century. The scripts that are still in use today by the indigenous Mangyang groups of the Philippines are the Bayad and the Hanuna Cubdo script. Adoption of the Latin script When the Spaniards arrived in 1521 and began to colonize the islands of the Philippines in 1565, they introduced the Latin script to the Catholicized Filipinos. When most of the Philippine languages were first written in the Latin script, they used the Spanish alphabet. This alphabet was called the Abecedario, the original alphabet of the Catholicized Filipinos, which variously had either 28, 29, 31, or 32 letters. Until the first half of the 20th century, most Philippine languages were widely written in a variety of ways based on Spanish orthography. The writing system of the Muslim Filipinos in the different independent sultanates of Mindanao during the Spanish colonization shifted from a bugida script to Arabic alphabet, while the writing system of most of the Catholicized Chinese Filipinos shifted from written Chinese to Abecedario alphabet. Virtually unutilized from the Abecedario were the letters K and W, which are both used extensively in most Philippine languages today due to the imposition of the Abecada alphabet. Relics of this Abecedario alphabet can still be seen in the way Castilianized indigenous and Chinese origin surnames are written. Some examples of indigenous Philippine surnames are Macasa Quit, Guinta, Ball plus or minus Aga, Gipit, Abucajo, Abueg, Bonjachan, Dagahoy, Valaray and Immaculata plus or minus Gan. Some examples of Chinese origin surnames are Guanza Cubden, Kajunko, Sayopwatko, Yapkuli, Loksa N, Quisumbing, Chuazan and Yakhenko. Many indigenous place names are also written using Spanish orthography, often either coexisting or competing with their indigenized forms if they exist. Para plus or minus ake would be written in the indigenized system as Peraniake, but the latter spelling is so far unaccepted and not known in use. Quite notable are proper nouns wherein the letter Y is written before consonants and is pronounced Iloilo, and Ilocos were spelled archaically as Iloilo or Ilolo and Ilocos. Surnames in the Philippines such as Ibal plus or minus is, Isagan, Ibarra, Ildefonso and Iligan are evidences of the Old Spanish writing system. Ilang-ilang, a native Philippine tree valued for its perfume, is another example. The use of the letter Y at the beginning of words, however, gradually shifted to the letter I, reflecting the revised Spanish orthography. Archaic use of the letter X in the Old Spanish writing system that is pronounced as H is evident in surnames such as Roxas. Another example is Ma copyright Zico, Pampanga. The letter H was utilized in most of the indigenous words of the Philippine languages instead of the letter J in Spanish. Spanish loanwords like Giza S, Justicia, or Jada N, however, retain their original spelling in Spanish. A common practice in the orthography of some of the Philippine languages during the Spanish colonial period up to the 1960s was the use of tilde written over gi florin, a letter which was notably used to shorten the words nang and maniga into ni florin and mgi florin respectively. No literature could be found that pertained to the rules that governed the usage of this letter or that explained its disappearance. Today, these two words are usually just simply written as ng and mga. Originally, there was a large tilde that spanned both n and g when a vowel follows the ng digraph. This tilde indicates that the ni g in the vowel should be pronounced as one syllable, such as nigar in the three-syllable word panikolana eurosyllabicated as pa-ni-ga-lan, not pan-ga-lan. The use of the tilde over the two letters is now virtually non-existent. Due to technical constraints, Machine-printed variants of ni ga emerged, which included a plus or minus ga, ni florina, and even ga plus or minus a, as in the case of saga plus or minus a euro-syllabicated as, za and gay. The ng digraph letter is similar to, but not the same as, the prepositional word ng, originally spelled ni florin with a tilde over the g only. The words a plus or minus g and ni florin are shortened forms of the word nang. There are some words with no tilde written over the ng digraph, as in the case of barangay from the Tagalog word balalnigay, since it is syllabicated as, barangay. Ilonggo used to be written as Ilonggo or Ilonggo without a tilde over the ng, since it is syllabicated as, Ilonggo. Another example is Zambonga, syllabicated as, Zambo what plus or minus ga. Words that end in ng digraph such as ang, utang and saguing also didn't have tildes over the n or g or both ng. Diacritic marks were also utilized. Acute, grave and circumflex were required and only used with the vowels. The latter two may only appear at the end of a word ending in a vowel. Diacritics had no impact on the primary alphabetical order. Possible combinations include a cent, a copyright, a registered trademark, r cubed, r squared, r to the first and a. The vowels were pronounced in a short vowel length, e, I, o, u, while the consonants were pronounced as b, c, ch, d, f, g, h, j, k, l, ll, m, n, and g, a, I or ni florin or ni g or ga plus or minus, p, q, r, s, t, v, w, x, y, z. This alphabet gradually fell out of use since 1940 due to the imposition of the abecada alphabet. Punctuation marks were also borrowed from Spanish. Punctuation marks like AA instead of the quotation marks were used. The inverted question mark and inverted exclamation point were also utilized at the beginning of phrases ending with either the regular question mark exclamation point. Collation of the abecedario equals abecada alphabet equals. Jose Copyright Rizal suggested the indigenization of the orthography of the Philippine languages by replacing the letters C and Q with K. Rizal got the idea after reading an 1884 essay by Trinidad Pardo de Tavera about the ancient Baybayin script. On November 13, 1936, the Institute of National Language selected Tagalog as the basis of the Tagalog-based national language to replace Spanish due to its rapidly declining usage as the national language. The abecada alphabet, which contains 20 letters, was created by Lope K. Santos in 1940. The alphabet was officially adopted by the Institute as an alphabet for the Tagalog-based national language to indigenize the writing system. The Latin script was introduced by the Catholic missionaries of Spain, leaving nothing to indigenize. Reverting to the use of Baybayin, an abugida which was one of the pre-Spanish Philippine writing systems, is one option to strictly indigenize Filipino orthography. However, more than 350 years of influence of the Spanish language, and about 40 years of influence of the English language to the indigenous Philippine languages in 1940 led to the addition of many consonants to Filipino orthography, such as ch, f, ll, a, q, r, b, x and z. The abecedario alphabet is a phonetic writing system. Abecedario has been the writing system for more than 350 years since the start of the Spanish colonization of the Philippines, along with Baybayin, which began to decline in the 17th century and became obsolete in the 18th century for the major languages of the Philippines. This continued to the time when Doctrina Christiana was published in 1593, during the time of Tar-Cubed Mas Pinpin and Francisco Balagtas, and even after 1940, in most of the major and minor languages of the Philippines. The abecedario was gradually wiped out since 1940, due to the imposition of abecada. The abecada orthography gradually influenced the languages of the Philippines. The abecada orthography was guided by the book entitled Balara Lo Ng Wikang Pambansa Sent, written by Lope K. Santos. Vowels were pronounced with a short vowel length, while consonants were pronounced by appending short a's at the end. Hence, the name abecada, from the first four letters of the alphabet. Collation of the abecada. Filipino alphabet equals. In 1959, the Institute of National Language renamed the Tagalog-based national language into Filipino. On October 4, 1971, the abecada alphabet was revised and expanded in order to accommodate words of Spanish and English origin. It consisted of 31 letters the 20 letters of the abecada alphabet and the Spanish C, CH, F, J, LL, A, Q, R, V, X and Z. Filipino was defined by the 1973 Philippine Constitution as one of the official languages of the Philippines. On July 30, 1976, the Department of Education, Culture and Sports issued Department Memo No. 194 starting the adoption of the Filipino alphabet. In practice, the Spanish digraphs were considered as their two constituent letters. Collation of the Filipino alphabet. Modern Filipino alphabet equals. In 1987, the official language called Filipino was renamed to Filipino. Article 14 Section 6 of the 1987 Constitution states that the national language of the Philippines is Filipino. As it evolves, it shall be further developed and enriched on the basis of existing Philippine and other languages. The Filipino alphabet was reduced to 28 letters, with the Spanish CH, LL and RR digraphs being dropped, as these were not fully understood and had declined in use beyond proper names. The Association of Spanish Language Academies itself abandoned use of CH, LL, and RR in 1994, and each digraph is now treated as a sequence of two distinct characters, finding occasional use as conjoined pairs. The modern Filipino alphabet is primarily English alphabet plus the Spanish A and Tagalog NG digraph. These are alphabetized separately in theory. Today, the modern Filipino alphabet is used, and may also serve as the alphabet for all autochthonous Philippine languages and in writing Chavacano, a Spanish-derived Creole spoken in Zamboanga. Collation of the modern Filipino alphabet. Pronunciation of the modern Filipino alphabet. The pronunciation of the modern Filipino alphabet is similar to the Spanish language, but the spelling of the alphabet is done according to the English rules. This paradox makes the alphabet one of the most difficult to learn for native speakers that have to adapt their pronunciation to the English language rules. The orthography of the national language. As of August 2007, the Commission on the Filipino Language has made available a draft version of Filipino orthography that is open for comment. This document is a result of a series of consultations with various teachers, instructors, linguists and others in the field that took place between 2006 and 2007. The document begins by detailing the letters of the alphabet, their order and their names. One set of names is based on English letter names. The other, similar to the former abecada. Some exceptional names are those letters which were not part of the abecada, C, say, Q, Quan and X, Xa. It goes on to name punctuation marks, and describes the use of the acute, grave and circumflex accents in Filipino. Words that already exist in the language are preferred over a borrowed term, for example, tuntunin versus rel. In terms of spelling, issues concerning the use of y/i and w/uw are codified according to the number of preceding consonants and the origin of the word if it is borrowed. Lastly, it provides spelling guidelines for words of foreign origin. It focuses mainly on the two languages that have provided a large number of lexical items to the Filipino language, namely Spanish and English. In short, regarding borrowings from these two languages, Spanish words of common usage are written in a manner consistent with Filipino phonology. These words are already in common usage, thus they will not revert to their Spanish spelling. On the other hand, if the words come from English or another foreign source or if the term is derived from Spanish that does not already have a phonetic spelling, the spelling should be kept intact. It should not be spelled phonetically. Examples: Spanish telecopyright phono equals telecopyright pono not telecopyright phono, English psychology equals psychology not psychology, but, Spanish psicóloga A or psicóloga L equals psicología, Spanish silla equals cilia, Spanish cuchara equals cuchara, Spanish cabello equals cabella. Notes on Filipino Orthography, C, F, J, A, Q, V, X, and Z are used mostly for loan words or regional words. The vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. Usual diacritic marks are acute, grave, circumflex, diaeresis, which are optional, and only used with the vowels. The latter two may only appear at the end of a word ending in a vowel. Diacritics have no impact on the primary alphabetical order. Possible combinations include a cent, a copyright, a registered trademark, r cubed, r squared, r to the first, a. Historically, the tilde was used within many Philippine languages. It was notably used to shorten the words nang and maniga into ni florin and mgi florina respectively. Today, these two words are usually just simply written as ng and mga. A is considered as a separate letter, instead of a letter diacritical mark combination. The alphabet also uses the ng digraph, even originally with a large tilde that spanned both n and g when a vowel follows the digraph. This tilde indicates that the ni-g and the vowel should be pronounced as one syllable, such as niga in the three-syllable word panigalan, eurosyllabicated as panigalan, not pangalan. The use of the tilde over the two letters is now rare. Due to technical constraints, machine-printed variants of niga emerged, which included a plus or minus ga, ni florina, and even ga plus or minus a. The ng digraph letter is similar to, but not the same as, the prepositional word ng, originally spelled ni florin. The words ng and ni florin are shortened forms of the word nang. A is a new variant of e introduced in 2013 to represent in Austronesian words of non-Tagalog origin. The d and or interchange depends on where the letter is located. Letter d will change into or if there is a vowel before it. For example, dagat to mandaragat, dunong to marunong. However, this doesn't apply on other Filipino language and especially foreign loan words. Orthographic styles. Below is an example of the difference in orthography between the Old Tagalog and modern Filipino system. The text used for comparison is the Filipino version of the Lord's Prayer. The phrase in square brackets is the doxology for yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. See also, Filipino alphabet, Filipino language, Commission on the Filipino language. References. Notes, wikar.fworks.com, Comisión sa Wikang Filipino, August 1, 2007, The Orthography of the National Language, Republic of the Philippines, Department of Education, No. 104S 2009. Proyectos Saluda, KWF Comisión sa Wikang Filipino, proyectos-saluda.org, Proyectos Saluda, Part 1, Definitions, KWF Comisión sa Wikang Filipino, proyectos-saluda.org, Nang or ng? The long and the short of it, in other words by Paul Morrow, Filipino Express, Filipino-express.com, July 1, 2006. The Evolution and Disappearance of the A in Philippine Orthographies since the 1593 Doctrina Christiana by Richard C. Siney, Instituto Cervantes, Manila. Accessed May 25, 2009. External links, Commission on the Filipino Language Wiki, Commission on the Filipino Language website.